Well, getting ready to paint. I got one set of gloves, another set of gloves, and another set of gloves. You get this shit on your skin, it's not coming off. With nothing. And the last time I had it, I still have marks. I had it on the skin, I was trying to grind it with the stone. You know, the stone that you grind your heels. And I got my skin all the way to bleeding and it wouldn't come off. It just binds so well to the skin. So when this is like 415, same thing. It binds to the rust, so it binds to your skin, and it's moisture curing. It's a sunblock. What sunblock does is basically, it's a UV protection, so you actually have a layer of this thing on your skin that never dries off. Well, it dries, but you got like a protective layer. So when you get a paint on it, then it comes off very easy. Only open the can when you're going to use it all up.
The only issue with these cans is once you open them, this whole thing cures inside. Not only that, even though if it doesn't cure inside, if you spill anything over the rim, once you put the lid back on, you'll never be able to open it. This is like a super glue. I've seen people recommending drilling 2 holes in it and using tape to close the holes and just pouring the paint, and that's what I've been doing. This is my 3rd can and I've been painting over the last 2 months, and I've been able to just peel the tape and pour the paint and put the tape back on, and the epoxy inside never got hard. So this is a 3/16 drill, and I'm just gonna poke 2 holes in it in the can. I already kind of move the can around, so I know the paint is pre-mixed. Of course, you want to get it off your drill too, because this stuff is like I said, it's a crazy glue. So now I'm gonna pour what I need, just kind of slowly, so it doesn't go through both holes. And I'm not gonna be doing a lot of painting. It's that rear bumper that I forgot to paint once I took the plastic off, which is somewhere behind me. This is good enough. Where's the plastic? See, this is the plastic that I just peeled off from the bumper, and so now I'm treating all the rust underneath. So then I just grab a paper towel. This thing wipes pretty clean with just paper towels. Like I said, it cures with moisture, so it's not like it doesn't cure right away with air like normal paint does. So that's what I do. And then I'll take a piece of aluminum tape and tape both holes. And I've had one can sitting there for almost a month. It was almost empty. It was only just a little bit on the bottom, and I was able to peel the tape off, and it was still nice and liquid inside. So that definitely works. And not only that, you introduce very little air inside of the can, where normally if you pop that whole lid, you're going to get all that air and moisture inside.
And the sponges is the best thing because it absorbs. If you use a brush like this, because when I was working on my the bed of the truck, using the brush, this thing just flows, especially upside down. It just flows on your hands, it drips everywhere. A sponge absorbs it. So it's much better, and they're only like 60 cents.
Well guys, I hope you can see this, but there's a little orange spots everywhere. And this is after first coat of the chassis saver. And you might see this and freak out. It's like, what the heck? This is supposed to treat rust and seal it. But what are these spots that I see everywhere on the first coat? Hopefully you can see them because it's a shiny coat, so it just reflects the sunlight. But what that is basically when when you're putting your first coat, your brush is actually picking up the rust particles. You can see all the rust on it. Same thing happens with your brush. When you're brushing it, it picks up the rust particle and mixes it with the paint, with this epoxy. And what happens when it dries, some of these particles are on top of the epoxy, and then they'll turn orange, and you'll think, holy cow, I just painted this thing and I see rust already. But it's just on the surface, and if you rub it off,
If you take a rag and rub it off, it just kind of goes away. And when you put a second coat, you will never see it again, because unless you, when you're putting a second coat, for example, I would take the brush and first paint my differential, which is rusty. Then I would pick up all these rust particles in my brush and then use the same brush to put a second coat. I'll see them again. But if you're just putting a second coat right over the chassis saver, you will never see these little spots anymore. Now I have 3 coats everywhere else except this bumper here, but you will see no rust particles anywhere. Of course you see rust inside the tubes, which I will treat with wax and grease. But and this is 3 coats on the tubes, and everywhere else you'll see no rust anywhere. So you only see it on the first coat. So I'm just letting you know, don't freak out when you see rust after the first coat. And another tip is, if when you're doing first coat over the rust, do it on the driest day. This is a moisture curing epoxy, and drier the day the better, because it has time to soak into the rust. Not only is it soaks better into the rust, but it converts the rust, because it's a paint over rust epoxy that has a converter in it. Okay, I figured out how to focus this thing on up close. I had to turn the micro focus on, so I'm only like, you know, an inch away from it. But you see what I mean with these orange spots. They're just everywhere. Okay, so basically now I have to put 2 more coats here, because this is, I only have 1 coat here and 3 coats everywhere else. And let me show you my elbow here. Hopefully you can see this. And that'll stay for 2 weeks, because it's just impossible to remove. And yes, I use the respirator because this stuff is just actually it's really nasty. It's when I was painting my whole frame, it was just my throat was hurting, so I put a respirator on when I was doing the first coat, and I finished the rest of it with a respirator, because this stuff is just not good to breathe. Another tip with gloves: use latex gloves. The Harbor Freight gloves are the nitrate, and then I use the other brand. They're black gloves. This shit completely dissolved them. I mean, within a couple minutes the glove just falls apart. Where latex glove stays all intact. So something to remember, because this shit, when you get it on your skin, forget it. It's not coming off. Just remember to keep some of that SA reducer handy, because you're gonna get some shit on your arms and stuff, and that's the only thing that removes it. Nothing else will cut it. I can't touch anything, you know, anymore, because I got paint all over my hands. But yeah, the SA reducer is the only thing that removes this thing if you ever get it on your skin. So here are the 2 previous cans that I opened and emptied, and then I just opened the 3rd one, and that's plenty of epoxy to finish this whole truck, because now I'm just doing the differential in the front. What took most of the paint, the epoxy, was the bed of the truck. I don't know if you remember, let me show you. So this is what took a can and a half to do this whole bottom of the bed, 2 coats, and all, probably can't see it because I don't have a light, but it's all inside the wheel wells on both sides. You can't see it, but it starts from here, and I painted all on the inside. So this part here, because you see a lot of trucks, it was already spotted rust all inside here, and you see a lot of trucks, this whole thing starts going. So I coated all this on the inside, and you can see how I cut this away. You can watch my other videos how I dealt with all that. So I coated all on the inside here, so this doesn't corrode. So that took a can and a half, 1.5 cans, and then a half a can to do 3 coats on the frame, rear frame. So I know I got plenty of epoxy to finish this whole truck, including the differential, and then I'll probably remove the wheels too, and remove all the rust from the wheels on the inside, because this is just like a chrome plate on the face just to make it look nice, but the wheels are pretty rusted too. You can see in there, so I'm gonna take them out and repaint the wheels on the inside. So that should
The third can should be plenty to finish this whole job.